Prince Harry returns to the UK to commemorate the 10th anniversary of the Invictus Games, but Meghan will be joining him.
And one of the most adored royals, Princess Charlotte, turns 9 tomorrow.
Prince Harry is back in the UK, but this time without Meghan Markle. As the Duke of Sussex steps onto British soil, royal watchers are asking, will he meet with Kate Middleton? With tensions high and Kate's health concerns, speculation is high.
Hello and welcome to Heirs and Spares, the show where we bring you insight and opinion into the lives of two of the most famous royal couples on both sides of the pond. I'm Kinsey Schofield, and I'll be bringing you updates on the Duke and Duchess of Sussex right here in California.
And I'm Katie Nicholl, and I'll have the latest news from the Prince and Princess of Wales here in the UK. But actually we're going to turn our attention to the younger royals this week. Last week we were talking about Prince Louis celebrating his 6th birthday, and of course tomorrow it's Princess Charlotte's 9th birthday. Kinsey, we always get so excited about these royal birthdays, don't we? I was doing an interview with someone the other day. It was for a German network, and they were saying, what is the interest in the young royals and their birthdays? You know, why does it tend to make headlines? And I said, well, I think it's because there's always been a global interest in royal children. You think back to William and Harry and everything about them, from their first tooth to their first haircut to their first bike ride, was sort of chronicled. And so birthdays were a big part. And we seem to have the same sort of fascination with the Prince and Princess of Wales as children. And it's not just Prince George being a future king, is it? It's Princess Charlotte and Prince Louis as well.
I agree, and it helps that they're absolutely beautiful babies that are 99.9% well behaved. So that's almost, we all have children in our lives. So to see these beautiful, well-dressed, well-behaved children is kind of, it's a miracle sometimes in the chaos of what is some of this pomp and ceremony that we get from the British royal family. But with Princess Charlotte, there's almost something very special about her, because you almost see that she recognizes her role, and she almost takes herself very seriously. She the way that she kind of calms her brothers down sometimes, or corrects them in their posture, I just feel like she feels like an old soul to me. Does that make sense?
I think you're absolutely right. She is a very old soul. In fact, Prince William has said that she really rules the roost at home, and I think you can absolutely see that. I'm one of 3. I've got two brothers as well, and I think it tends to be the sister, particularly if there's only one, tends to be quite bossy. And I think that's probably fair to say of Charlotte. She does seem to, as you say, sort of keep everyone in check. Make sure Louis isn't waving too vigorously when he's in the carriage for something like Trooping the Colour. Keeping an eye on him. But actually, when you look at her relationship with Prince George, even though he's of course her older brother, she sort of very much seems to take the lead in that. I think George is a more introvert and perhaps a slightly more shy personality than Charlotte. And I think he really looks to her. It really reminds me actually of that relationship between Prince Charles and Princess Anne with George and Charlotte. They really look to each other for that support. I think they have a very, very close friendship. So I suppose the big question is, are we going to be getting a photograph of Princess Charlotte to mark her 9th birthday? I think we can assume that we will, but it's interesting, Kinsey, the palace are doing things a little bit differently. So in days of old, and certainly pre-Photogate, I think most people know what I'm talking about when I say Photogate, but if you don't, then I am of course referring to that now infamous Mother's Day photograph that was released by the Princess of Wales, that was digitally manipulated and caused a massive hoo-ha on social media.
Will there be a reunion, or will this trip widen the royal rift? So why is Prince Harry back in the UK? According to reports, the Duke is here for a special event, likely related to his ongoing commitments with the Invictus Games, or perhaps a charity engagement. But let's be real, any trip Harry makes to London is bound to spark curiosity
over the fact that she had sort of digitally manipulated this image. And I think, that has set a precedent for putting out a disclaimer with these photographs that they haven't been digitally edited. But also, to the princess's full credit, making sure that we're still getting these photographs. And they are lovely pictures. They're always very candid, very natural, very relaxed, often in natural daylight, more often than not taken outside, where the kids are sort of playing or relaxing, or where they're certainly feeling, I think, most at home, most themselves. And they are lovely photographs. So I'm sure we will be seeing one of Princess Charlotte. And I think that's a good sign on all fronts. It means that Photogate hasn't deterred the Waleses from doing things their way and issuing their own pictures. And it's also, I think, an indication that the Princess of Wales must be doing okay if she's feeling well enough to be taking photographs of her children and distributing them. And I think that's also an indication of wanting to continue a sense of normality back at home. It must be incredibly hard for the Princess and the Prince of Wales, as Kate goes through this treatment, to keep things running as normally as possible. Now, obviously the children are at school, but I hear that they are keeping a normal routine. There are still play dates. There'll certainly be some sort of a party or something to celebrate Charlotte's 9th birthday. And I think that must be very, very important to keep a sense of normality and a sense of routine for the 3 Wales children as the family go through a clearly very difficult and testing time.
Agreed. I always love looking at pictures of the babies, I think, because you look at the history of the family and say, oh, you are the spitting image of. And there are a lot of comparisons to Charlotte and Princess Diana. But similar to baby Louis, I see Middleton. When
I do too.
Well, I guess I also see a little bit of young Prince William, but I certainly see Middleton when I look at Princess Charlotte. She's the most beautiful girl, and she is going to be such a knockout of a woman. I cannot wait to see.
Well, I think that's part of the charm about this, Kinsey, is that we're not just going to see her on her 9th birthday. We're going to see her on her 19th birthday. We're going to see her evolve into an absolutely beautiful young princess. And I think that's what makes these pictures special. Going to that point that I was raising at the start of the conversation, why all the interest? You know, why is this making news? Well, actually, it's a happy news story, and I think we all need some happy news stories at the moment, and it's something that's going to continue. So whatever the picture is, I'm sure we're in for a treat, and I'm sure it will display Charlotte in looking that little bit older, as you say, very much Middleton. But I think when you look at pictures of the late Queen Elizabeth when she was that age, there's definitely a little bit of the late Queen in Charlotte as well. So maybe people might see that when they look at whatever picture we're treated to tomorrow. Anyway, moving on to the Prince of Wales, who, as we know, is back at work. He was in an engagement only recently visiting a primary school to look at their mental health initiatives when he was asked to recite a joke. Now, I think it's always difficult for anyone, but particularly for a royal, to be asked to sort of deliver a joke on the spot in that sort of environment. But Prince William, as he always does, rise to the challenge and said that he was going to channel some of his, what we assume, favourite comedian, a British actor and comedian, Jack Whitehall.
With King Charles facing health challenges and Kate Middleton recently stepping back due to her own medical concerns, some wonder if this visit is about more than just official business. Now, the big question: will Harry meet with Kate? Kate Middleton, the royal peacemaker, is recovering from a health scare. Sources say Harry wants to see her, but it's unclear if it will happen. Harry's relationship with William is still ice cold. Could William be the reason Harry and Kate won't meet?
He was going to do a Jack Whitehall joke, and in fact he then decided that he was going to deliver one of Charlotte's jokes. You remember I was saying that she rules the roost at home. She's clearly the one who's sort of coming out with the jokes as well, and he came up with a joke about an interrupting cow. I think by the time he'd mentioned what this joke was going to be, we all guessed what the punchline was, but he went along with it and he did it and got a few groans, got a few laughs, got the sort of reaction that he wanted. But the internet went viral with a clip afterwards with Jack Whitehall, the comedian who William said he wanted to channel, watching this clip, taking some notes, perhaps about his next dad joke and what that might look like. And it's gone viral on the internet, as these things do. But again, a sort of happy news story, and I think one where we can think, this isn't just Prince William being back at work, obviously, while Kate's still at home and still off official duties. This is Prince William sort of doing what he loves. I think both him and Kate are always very, very comfortable and at great ease when they're with children. We're seeing William sort of picking up almost Kate's sort of work here in terms of younger school children, mental health issues that she really channels as well. I think that's really lovely that he's sort of doing that work perhaps while she can't, and giving a bit of a glimpse into his personality and perhaps, you know, some of the jokes that take place at home. And as I say, he was put on the spot, came up with a pretty good joke, and I think he handled it quite well. He's actually got a very good sense of humour, Prince William. You don't often see it, but I've been on engagements with him over the years where he's got a wonderful knack of putting people at ease and making people feel relaxed. In fact, I remember after one lineup, I'd gone up and asked someone what William had said, because this person who'd been terribly, terribly nervous before meeting Prince William visibly relaxed while they were chatting and was in stitches by the end of their conversation. And I went up and found her after the engagement. I said, well, what did he say that made you laugh? And she said, well, I was so nervous. He said, don't be nervous. Just imagine me naked. And of course, that had caused her to erupt into fits of giggles. It had made the engagement go well. It had made brilliant pictures of that engagement. And I think just gave a bit of an insight into Prince William's own sense of humour. And I think, Kinsey, we saw a bit of that with him relaying his dad jokes. I think he's secretly quite proud of his dad jokes.
Let me know in the comments what you think. Where does Meghan fit into all this? Meghan is not in the UK. Harry has traveled solo before, but it raises eyebrows. They've presented a united front, so why is she absent? Tensions with the royals? Or avoiding media frenzy? Her absence fuels speculation. The heirs and spares drama continues. We all know the phrase heir and spare. Harry and William were once inseparable, but since Harry stepped down, things have been rocky.
His dad dancing, and he's not too doesn't take himself too seriously to send himself up a bit. And I think that makes him very relatable, very approachable, and, you know, and very popular.
Absolutely, I adore him. Jack Whitehall is not, I don't think he's as famous here as he is there, but he has a bit of a heartthrob kind of reputation. He's a beautiful man. From what I know, he's been in, The Jungle Book, I believe, or was it, he's been in a Disney movie recently. He was in Clifford the Big Red Dog. I know he has a much bigger presence there, but he's certainly considered an up-and-comer here. I just think it's so funny because apparently this is like an ongoing banter that he has with Prince William. He went to school with the Princess of Wales and refers to her publicly as the one that got away.
Yes.
And so we'll say that, that's the one that got away, and Prince William will say, like, are you flirting with my wife? So to see this kind of, to your point, to see this joke go a little further, Prince William pick up a joke from years ago and continue to go with it, makes me feel like things are going good, that he's in a good place.
I think absolutely. I think it's a good indication. I think it's a good indication, and that spirits, despite what's going on at home, and that is obviously a very, very difficult thing for the family to be going through. If William can be out cracking jokes, having this banter with Jack Whitehall, I think that that's just giving the illusion that actually we're getting on with this and things are okay. It made me laugh that Jack Whitehall seems to think that in all of this he's lost any chance of getting a knighthood. I would say the exact opposite. I'd say he's definitely in line for one. He's certainly on the radar, and it's interesting what you're saying, Kinsey. He's not such a well-known name over in the States, but I bet you he's getting better known now. All thanks, of course, to Prince William and his dad jokes. Anyway, on to Prince Harry. Kinsey, you've got news for us on Prince Harry.
That's right. He's going to be returning to the UK next week for a ceremony marking the 10th anniversary of the Invictus Games. This service is going to take place at St. Paul's Cathedral in London on May the 8th. It's going to be the first time that Prince Harry's been seen in the UK since February, when he briefly visited the King following his cancer diagnosis. This is unfortunately going to be, as far as we know, Prince Harry solo. We don't expect to see any senior members of the royal family attending this event. We don't even expect to see Meghan Markle there, which does honestly surprise me, because I felt like she would be concerned with the optics of Prince Harry standing there alone. This is probably one of his most proud, moments, accomplishments, and I would be concerned with him feeling lonely in that moment and not having somebody there to celebrate that with. So I'm a little surprised and disappointed that she doesn't want to be there with him, although it's my understanding that she just simply feels uncomfortable in the UK. We do think that Damian Lewis will be there to recite the Invictus poem. Otherwise, details are very limited when it comes to this event because Harry apparently is concerned about security, which is it's an ongoing issue, so you can understand. Will Prince Harry attempt to see the king? I believe so, although some sources close to the king are saying his schedule is packed. I'm pretty sure he'll take a moment for his son. When it comes to the Prince and Princess of Wales,
With Harry in town, will he reconnect with William? After bombshell interviews and that book, it seems unlikely. Is the royal feud too deep to fix? If you think Harry and William will mend things, drop a crown in the comments. What happens next? Will we see a surprise Harry-Kate reunion? Or will this trip highlight the ongoing divide? Only time will tell. Every move Harry makes in the UK is under a microscope. Like, subscribe and hit the notification bell for updates. See you in the next one.